All right, next up, I'd like to invite up Sapir Tori. She is the founder and CEO of Zano, a marketplace connecting brands with influencer talent agencies. Working with hundreds of agencies, she has a unique perspective on trust, influence, and the future of creator partnerships. I'm so excited because although Zana is originally from New York, she's lived in China, LA, Amsterdam, and is now based in Israel. And so she's going to be able to give us an awesome international perspective into the influencer orbit. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Very exciting.
Great. So you have spent years working across the creator economy from talent representation to brand partnerships building Zano. So what first drew you to this space and what has surprised you the most about how it's evolved since you've entered it?
Yeah. So I originally come from high tech. I did a lot of sales, like demos for businesses, and I've worked a lot with C-level executives doing demos for them. And back in 2016, I had the pleasure of meeting my now husband, who runs a talent agency, an influencer marketing agency. Back then in 2016, when I met him, that wasn't even a thing. And so when we were dating, a lot of our dates would be overtaken by his deals. And when I was in the high tech space and he was doing this, I got a sneak peek into the whole world from 2016 until now. And if you know influencer marketing, you know that it wasn't really a thing back then. He started just by helping social media platforms get people to use it. That was what the influencer marketing was back then, and then it evolved. So it lured me. And 4 years ago, I decided, okay, finally, the dates have been overtaken by you enough. Let me join. I've had a little bit of experience with working with like corporations and startups in high tech, and I knew a lot of ways of how to make processes work better. And when I saw his agency more of operating like a one-man show where the deals were dependent too much on his ability to close them, I decided to help scale it to a team. And so I helped scale it from 3 people to 10. And through the work there that I did, like the detailed workflow processes and scaling, I noticed a big gap in the market. We were sitting at a dinner in Amsterdam, actually. I don't know if anyone knows Mr. Porter. It's a great, great, great place. It's delicious steak. And there was a deal with a really big deal influencer on the table, and it was a six-figure deal. And they needed the brand needed the talent to post on June 1st. I specifically remember this, and it fell through because it took too long to negotiate the terms, to send the details, the performance data of the influencer, negotiating the script, all those details. It just took too long, and it didn't work. It didn't happen. The talent wanted it to happen. The brand wanted it to happen, but it fell through. And so that's when I realized that a better way to search for agencies and who represents who and getting that information before would bring you 3 steps forward in the negotiation, and that deal would have happened. So then I spun off into Zano and created my own marketplace of agencies, talent agencies, and who they represent, so that they can have all the information they need and go close the deals fast.
Yeah, no, that's so impressive. And now you have what, 6,000 or how many
Yeah,
thousand
so
creators?
what you were asking is like the thing that I've noticed that emerged that shocked me is the number of talent agencies. We have 400 talent agencies right now on Zano. And there's not a lot of data on it, like to be 100%, you know exactly how many, but there's a range between 15,000 to 40,000 talent agencies globally. And anyone can be an agent. Like, you just need to be a good salesperson, find talent, and go make some deals, and you're an agency.
Yeah, which I'm excited to talk a lot more about that because today we've been talking a lot about trust in the creator economy. And that's usually talking about how consumers might trust creators. But you have a unique perspective and multiple different layers of trust that you are handling, overseeing, and connecting and building. So, could you talk to me more about what those layers are and how to build trust between them?
Yes. So when you do okay, so like you said, influencer to consumer, it's the classic one. But before the post goes live, like I said, the example at Mr. Porter, there's so much work that goes behind the scenes. And there's lots of different relationships that, of course, naturally have trust issues behind them. So you have the brand to their marketing agency, that, their marketing agency represents them and they're trying to get the talent that they want. And then you have the relationship between the influencer and the talent agency that represents them. So the influencer wants to make sure that they're being repped well. And then you have the relationship between the talent agent and the marketing agency. So the two players that are representing both sides. And they're more worried about, don't screw me over, basically.
Yeah.
Give me my cut.
Yeah. Well, let's jump more into each of these layers of trust. So let's start first with the consumer. And I know we've talked a lot about today about how to build consumer trust. But I'm curious with your international perspective, how do we actually build trust from the consumers to the creator, that level?
Consumer, sorry,
Consumer, so 3 levels of trust, right? We have consumer to creator, creator to agency.
yes.
Yeah, so let's start with from consumer to creator. How do
Yeah.
we build trust
All right.
to that?
So yeah, it's really just about relating to them and not selling out.
Mm.
Don't sell out. Don't go to brands just for the money. Like promote things that you actually believe in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, what is the fastest way for a brand to damage trust with creators, that second level of trust? And I know we've talked about this before, so
Yes. So there's two. Number one is pay them. Pay them on time. Don't stinge them. They're worth a lot of money. Pay them. And you'd be surprised. A lot of brands don't. And they try to nudge even like Fortune 500 companies still do that. So
wow.
that's a big one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one is trust their content. Like you hired them to promote your product because of their audience, right? So they know what works with them. So a lot of the times with brands, and actually it's nice to see that this is changing. So this is a great one, but it's going in the right direction now because more it's becoming more everyone's becoming more aware of it. But they come to the influencer and they tell them, this is the script. This is exactly what you need to do. We don't want you to say this. We don't say that. And it's like, well, didn't you hire this influencer because they have an audience that trusts them? Why don't you let them handle the creative
Mm.
brief?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And I think, again, as influencers themselves also continue to grow, there's also an element of trust issues within that, right? Because you might start as an influencer where your audience and your consumers really trust you on a personal level because they know it's just you holding up your camera and calling it a day. Um, but as those influencers continue to scale and brands continue to scale utilizing those influencers, to your point, there's definitely frustrations within the influencer to brand relationship. But I think there's also an issue of the consumer then to the influencers that continues to scale because they might be worried about, who's scripting, who's the real voice behind this campaign? Did the influencer come up with this? Is this something I could actually trust on? So why do you think this is such a persistent problem in the industry?
I love this question. I think a really good example of someone that did it really well is Charli D'Amelio. So she had a Netflix show where you saw behind the scenes her whole team coming up with a plan on what she's gonna do and what product she's gonna sell and where she's gonna go next because it is a business at the end of the day. Like, of course, these are people, these are creators, and we speak about trust, and you're like we're connecting to them on that like human level that I relate to you. But it's a business. Every creator is a business, and so what they did really well is her agent made a whole presentation and they added it into the show, and you feel like you're a part of that. Then you feel like you're part of her mission, part of her branding, and it also builds more trust between her audience and her.
Yeah, that's actually a great example. And I'm curious if you could break down more to the specifics of why that went well. And as creators continue to scale, how can they continue to maintain trust as there's different people coming into the room, there's different revenue streams coming in, and the consumers know know that this is happening, right? Do you have other examples or can you break down further, why you think that worked well for Charlie?
Yeah, she has different touch points. So, she does, like the dance, and then she was supposed to take, for example, like a celebrity like Selena Gomez. She's not an influencer, but she's a celebrity. Sometimes, you think of influencers and their audience. Celebrities also have audiences, is very similar. And with Selena Gomez, you do feel like you're almost her friend. So that insider scoop that you have, like kind of behind Rare Beauty, like every touch point that she does aligns with who she is and what everyone follows her for and loves her for. Then they love to listen to her music. They love to put her lipstick on. She is touching their point of lives in multiple places. On the car ride to her friend's, party, a bachelor party, playing her music or getting ready with that lipstick. So it's those
Yeah.
touch points and marking them at every point.
That's great. And as a creator and a brand grows with the creator, Do you feel like what often threatens that ability to maintain trust is a loss of alignment in those touch points? Like, for example, if Selena had, not hired well, that could threaten that alignment.
Sure.
What have you seen on that level?
So with creators, it's the original thing I've said before is like the sellout stuff, right? So they do brand deals just to do brand deals, and they don't actually believe in the product. That's a bad move. That you're gonna break trust with your audience.
Yeah, great. Well, I want to pivot a little bit and talk more about AI because we had a really great conversation about that, and you have some really exciting insight into what AI might look like into the future of influencer marketing. And so I'm curious your perspective on that, what trends you see might be coming up, and also your view about what you think is going to be effective with continuing to maintain trust versus perhaps threaten it.
Yeah. So with my work with agencies, I can say that, AI in the beginning when it started, it was a lot about, or even now, it's not even the beginning, not so long. Um, it's about discovery. So you can go onto an influencer discovery tool and you can just type in mom that shops at Target and you can find that because the AI does a really good job at tagging the content and putting that into a database. And then when you put those keywords, it finds that video. So that's what we've seen. Like, there's a few of those right now. But something that I'm very excited about that Zano is actually partnering with is a brand new AI concept and company. It's called Robin. The guy that's in charge there, Matt, he's incredible. He's an amazing developer. He's very, very smart. And he's built an AI agent to help. Remember that story I told you at the deal? So at the restaurant. So what his AI bot does is it handles inbound and outbound for agencies and it negotiates deals for them so that and then they bring it to the manager, the relevant manager, when it's relevant and they can continue the deal. So you'd be surprised if I went into my husband's inbox, there'd be tons of brand deals and some of them legit, some of them not. You have to weed through everything. And it's hard. And so that's what that AI bot does. It brings the relevant deals to the manager and they can skip all those steps. It's very exciting. And we actually have a set up an integration with Robin where you can take your media kit, like an agency can take their media kit from Zano. They can put in a pricing range and Robin shoots that out and deals with that and starts the bid at the top level of the range because obviously everyone's trying to start at the top and then lowball. As we spoke before, brands sometimes do lowball. And it will, in a really smart way, negotiate that with the brand and bring it to the relevant manager and the team.
Yeah, which I think is super exciting and love to hear that you're partnering with that tool as well. And as that continues to scale, obviously it's going to make influencer marketing and brand deals so much more efficient, which is exciting. But to play devil's advocate on the reverse side of that, are you worried about any of that taking away from human touch when it comes to brand deals? Or actually, on a panel I was at earlier this week, I think it was Mel Robbins, she brought up the AI analogy saying, AI's never had to ask someone on a date or take a driver's test. And so when it comes to, risk analysis or something that requires more human and emotion, that's not necessarily there, right? Like AI is a tool to help with decision making, but to what extent? So I'm curious your thoughts on some of the risks of implementing this new tool at a wide scale, if that's where the trend is heading, or industry is heading.
Yeah, I can say that with like the thing I just explained right now, it could be very dangerous if you take it to too many levels. I mean, thankfully, Matt is very smart in the sense where he also has a partner that is experienced in the industry and he wouldn't let it take it thousands of steps forwards where it's like very bad deal that they negotiated, right? That the bot negotiated. And you could play around with the settings where you can set, okay, we don't want you to take it to this level. We want you to pass it on to us after this step. So I think controlling until what extent it does. With AI, you just get 10 steps forward and deals are falling through the cracks. So we do need the help, but we don't need it to do our job for us. Like I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for a closing question, and I think this one is very applicable to you because you have the unique perspective of connecting creators to brands. We've talked a lot today about the importance of, whether or not consumers are trusting creators and brands. But should we instead be asking the question as to whether or not creators are trusting brands? Especially today, I think as the influencer realm is continuing to rise, more and more influencers realize that they actually hold the power. And we've seen the shift over the past decade or so, right? Of influencers starting to become an influencer and then starting their own business, demanding higher rates, asking for higher brand deals, asking for more power, right? And so I'm just curious as we continue to shift as creators realize they hold more power in the space, what brands should be doing to continue to foster that trust with those creators.
Take them seriously. Like, I know it's scary. They hold the cards, but the truth is that they're borderline celebrities, right? I mean, they're in between. I like to call creators like in between your friends and celebrities. So they're not celebrities in the sense where you can't touch them. Like, celebrities are more of like a one-way street where they like communicate out to the world. Influencers is a two-way street. You communicate with them, they communicate with you. You feel like you're their friend, but you're not their friend just yet.
Yeah.
So, and what brands need to do is they need to take them seriously. And I think that's where agencies really come in well, because they handle the deals for the influencers so that they don't go too crazy. And the brand takes the agent seriously, and the agent knows how to handle the brands so that they don't lowball too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've seen evidence of that just this week during Con, right? Where at these agency events, I went to CapCut, for example, and there was no, famous influencer there, right? Only lower level influencers, because at this point, the influencers are being invited to the higher executive, more celebrity type events, which is just, again, really telling to where trust is headed in today's day and age. So thank you so much for your time,
Thank you for
Sapir. It
having
was
me.
so great.
Thank you.